Hey, what is up, guys? It is your boy, Kingdom Soldier, and I'm back again with another commentary. Welcome to the STiKS. I'm sorry the last week's episode didn't go up, but this one is going to be great. We had an epic tournament this weekend, and I'm so excited to talk to you guys about it. I am still a little bit sick, but I got my trusty coffee cup here, and if I start coughing, I'm just going to take some sips. You can see that there's nothing on here, so there's no advertising dollars going to White Cup Industries or anything like that. Just in case you guys were wondering, there is something on the other side of the cup, but I'm not going to let you see it. You're just going to have to guess what's on the other side of the cup. Some of you guys are going to say, Starbucks, you live in Seattle. But no, it's not Starbucks. So what I want to do for you guys is I'm actually going to walk through the tournament. I could recap this tournament in the next hour if I wanted to and walk the whole bracket. And if you want a good copy of the bracket, I believe his name is Cousin James, one of the guys I follow on Twitter. He actually followed the entire tournament and updated every match on Shalong. His what do you call it? Placings are not accurate. You know, he had his seedings. He had TK at like 11 seed or something like that. But the matches are accurate, and the 3-2 and 3-1 and 3-0 and all that kind of stuff. It's accurate throughout the bracket, and so I'll put that in the description so you guys can check it out if you want to see how the whole tournament went. But what I'm going to do instead of doing that is I'm going to journey through the tournament in the eyes of 5 teams that basically had a huge impact on this tournament. So we're going to look at Rise, we're going to look at Curse LV, we're going to look at Strictly Business, we're going to look at Complexity, and then lastly we're going to look at Optic Gaming and how these teams qualified or didn't qualify for Call of Duty Championships at this U.S. Championship regional tournament. And I want to make 2 notes before I go there because my bracket was horrible. It was way off. Everybody's bracket was way off. Nobody could predict this. And here's the thing. This is why this was so difficult. And I didn't get to say this in my last video. I was too sick. However, Call of Duty Ghosts online is so unpredictable because of the way that host works and all that. I mean, you have teams in this pro circuit that are going 3-0 in their first match and then 0-3 in the very next match. And sometimes they're 3-0ing Complexity and then getting 0-3'd by like Curse Youth or something like that. And it's so unpredictable. And since December 10th, the number of roster changes we've had, it is nearly impossible as an analyst to predict what's going to happen on LAN. And I'm not saying that as any type of an excuse. SB stepped up and proved everyone just wrong, broke everybody's brackets. LV broke everyone's brackets. A lot of brackets were broken early on in this tournament, and so let's get right into it, and we're going to start with the Rise of Rise. And so Rise, or the Rise Nation as they're known, is Fears, Wheats, Looney, and Pac-Man. And if you don't know these players, you know, Looney is he's kind of someone you may not know of. I actually didn't know very much about him before this tournament. He just kind of came onto the scene. Wheats is someone that you'll see all the time in 8's lobbies. You know, if you watch like Killa late night streams or something like that, Wheats will be in there grinding with them, and he has been since like middle of Black Ops 2. I started seeing him show up in lobbies, and I'm really happy for him, happy that he got on a team that qualified for COD Champs. And then Fears and Pac-Man have been around for a long time. You've heard of him from Team Fear. Pac-Man has, you know, he got a national championship in 2008 for COD 4 with Team Fear. Fears actually was on the team with STiKS back in UMG Chicago when Complexity got second place, and he pushed Nade Shot. Fears was on that team. He was on that team when they won the Frag Cup, which was the tournament before UMG Chicago. He also has, I believe, another first and second place throughout the year on Call of Duty Black Ops 2. And so Fears has championships under his belt, and Pac-Man has a championship under his belt. They're experienced players. A lot of people were wondering who the heck they were. Nevertheless, their road to qualifying was one that nobody would have expected. No one on their bracket had Rise beating Curse LV in the first round. Now, ESN Voodoo, you're probably watching and going, I did. I really, because you had Final Boss going all the way to the championship, I didn't take your bracket very seriously. I thought it was a joke, actually. And so you had Rise beating Curse LV, and then they beat Curse LV, which was the biggest upset, the biggest shock of this tournament. Day one was them beating Curse LV, and then after that, they go up against Justice Pro, who had beat NY, and you're thinking, all right, Justice Pro is about to punch their ticket to COD Champs. No. Rise says, no, we're going to COD Champs. And they did. They went to COD Champs, and then they lost their next two matches. But that was basically their trail. They had to beat two teams that were rated way higher than them, because Curse LV was the third seed going into this tournament. And the upset they pulled on Curse LV, they basically they lost the first domination by only 1 point. So people were kind of like, wait a minute. And then it went to last map, and they handedly won the search and destroy. I believe it was Wheats that went. He got 14 kills in the search and destroy, and they just handedly were like, "Hey, we're going to COD Champs. Sorry," And they pushed past Cursed LV, and so that's the next team I want to talk about. And this is hard. The first thing I'll say is that I feel really bad for the Cursed LV guys. And let me take a drink of my coffee because I'm about to cough. I feel really bad for the Curse LV guys. I mean, just to be honest with you guys, to be the third best team on the game, seemingly to be the third best team on the game, I did not think that the issues they had communication-wise and all that stuff, I didn't think it was going to have an impact, no pun intended, an impact on their chances of qualifying for COD Champs. I thought that the route they had was easy enough, and the teams that they were going to have to beat was easy enough that they were going to at least qualify and then maybe not finish high in this tournament, but that they were going to at least qualify for COD Champs. And it was very unfortunate after they lost in the first round. What they triggered by losing was this big, and if you're not on Twitter, then you didn't even see all of this craziness. You guys were tweeting at me like crazy, but what happened is the minute they lost, it was inevitable that either Curse LV, Optic Gaming, or Team Envious were not going to COD Champs. Because of where Curse LV was going in the losers bracket, one of those three teams could not qualify. One of the three top 5 teams in the game was not going to COD Champs. And that was such a scary thought. We always knew that Optic or Envious, when they met each other in the second round, were going to go to the losers bracket. We didn't think that they were going to be facing Curse LV, potentially, because they didn't. Because Curse LV didn't even make it that far. And that's the even sadder fact, is that they didn't even win a match in this tournament. Their second match that they faced off against Curse NY, and they had to beat Curse NY, and then they would have had to have beat Optic Gaming in order to qualify, but they didn't get through Curse NY, and it was very, very unfortunate. I mean, looking at the Curse family feud and saying they're playing to kick each other out. Like neither one of them was going to qualify after that. They would have to go to play Optic, but they were playing for their future chance at qualifying for COD Champs. And it was really hard. You could even see on Twitter after the match, Revan was tweeting how sad he was, and it was bittersweet. And there was actually a video that came out afterwards, and basically it went to last map, and NY handedly won the search and destroy. And there was a video on Twitter. Spacely was tweeting, Sigma Spacely was tweeting like, hey, somebody send me some funny videos from the event. Sorry, guys. I'm really almost over this bronchitis. And somebody tweeted him a video from the event of the moment that Curse LV lost to Curse NY. And you saw Killa get up, take his Astros off, drop them on the monitor, and turn around, and he just walked out. And he didn't shake any hands. It was rumored on Twitter that he actually left the venue. You could see how sad Parasite was. Miracles, I believe, put his hands on his head like, no. You could see Ricky was sad about it. And Parasite immediately took to Twitter and said, don't feel sorry for us. We were egotistical and big-headed, and we didn't deserve to be there. That's basically what he said. And it actually came down to what, if you guys haven't seen Gandhi's video, If you guys haven't seen Gandhi's video about the multiple personalities of Curse LV, that's what it came down to. And it was actually it was just sad. You know, I couldn't tweet anything bad about the situation because I just felt bad for them. Those are three guys, Parasite, Miracles, and Killa, that played that won COD Champs last year and aren't even going to play in COD Champs this year. That just sucks. And then you have Ricky, who left Optic Gaming because he thought he had a better chance of qualifying with LV, only to go home losing to Curse NY. Very unfortunate. And here's the sticky situation that's been created: is next Friday, the Pro Circuit, you know, they made the Pro Circuit all the way through COD Champs, so the Pro Circuit is still being played. It doesn't end until like April 13th. Their next match is on Friday. The matches don't start till Thursday. Pro Circuit doesn't start back up. Their next match is Friday against Curse NY. And the question I have for you guys is, are they still going to be a team? And everybody's been saying contract. Well, are they just going to forfeit the matches? I mean, what's going to happen, you know? So we'll see what's going to happen. I don't know. People have been talking retirement, all that kind of stuff. But I'm very sad for Curse LV. And, man, it was hard to watch. That's what I'll say. So Strictly Business, SB, the champions, the U.S. champions, the crazy team, the biggest surprise of the tournament. They just came out the gate. They beat FaZe, they beat Complexity, they beat Envy, they beat TK, and then they beat Complexity again to win this tournament. No one can say they had an easy road. I said in one of my videos that SB/FaZe had the hardest road because they faced each other, and then they had to face Complexity, and then it was just going to go TK. And this team, the only team SB didn't beat that's notable is Optic Gaming, but they beat everybody else. They beat every other team in order, and they beat Complexity twice in order to make it and win, and they did it in such handed fashion. They made it look easy. Dito, Saints, Apathy, and Censor. And, you know, I guess if Saints was trying to win, well, then he may have made the right choice by leaving and going to SB, because they prove they are a force to be reckoned with. And, you know, there was all this little bit of beef going on Twitter between Censor and STiKS. And STiKS, towards the end of it, said that they're good friends and it was all in good fun. Off the sticks, they're really good friends. And, you know, it's kind of like Nadeshot says, I guess. You know, when you're talking about games and you're talking about money, STiKS doesn't joke. He takes it all seriously. And SB seriously put a good whooping on every team that they played. They did not drop a single map in order to qualify. On day one, no maps dropped. They went 6-0, and they ended the tournament 15-6. They dropped a couple maps, and you know, against TK, they dropped a couple maps against Complexity in the end, and they made winning look easy. I mean, they almost had that like Impact Complexity-ish dominance going on, and you know, clap, hands off to you guys, SB. Congratulations. You did a great job, and I'm sure you're going to do well at COD Champs. You're the team to beat in my mind right now. After this LAN, you're the team to beat, so good job. So, speaking of Complexity, these guys, man, they looked really good out the gate, beating Final Boss 3-0, and then they get 3-0'd by SB. No one expected them to get 3-0'd by SB. Losing, no one even expected that. You know, they didn't expect Complexity to lose until they faced like TK or something. But getting 3-0'd by SB, and then it became, okay, we're pretty sure they're going to qualify because they dropped down, and I think they had to play like Denial East or something like that. We were pretty sure they were going to qualify, but then it was for Complexity to get back, and TP said it on day one, at the end of day one, after they had qualified. He said, yes, we'll be in the championship game in the grand final so that we can play SB and show them that they're not better than us. Well, that didn't happen, but they did make it all the way back to the grand finals. And I just thought that was oh, sorry. I just thought that was amazing. I mean, they ran through the losers bracket like it was nothing. And I think I wrote down here like what teams. They went through Optic, Rise, FaZe, and TK to get back to the grand final, and basically continuation killed them. I know a lot of you guys don't like continuation, and what that means is it goes from, instead of being a best of 5, it's a best of 11, and they started off with an 0-3 deficit because they had been 3-0'd earlier in the day. Continuation kills you when you've been 3-0'd. You're pretty much screwed. And so they went down 5-1, and then they came back, won a couple games, and then SB was like, okay, let's just end this. And they ended it. And we saw one of the wildest. If you want to look at VOD, video on demand, go to the MLG COD channel and find the domination game on Octane. I believe it was game 1 of the grand finals, not the earlier matches. Game 1 of the grand finals of Complexity versus SB. SB won the first side by 51. It looked impossible. And then Complexity won the second side by 50. It was like, oh wait, it's backwards. Sorry. So Complexity won the first side by 51. SB won the second side by 50. So literally, SB was 1 point away from beating Complexity, and it was just bananas. I mean, it was crazy the way SB came out of the gate, and it was funny because I think it was Brycey or Benson or whoever was on stream was like, oh, this is just gonna be so hard, so impossible, and they just SB. They proved out the gate that this was their tournament to win. And Complexity, they qualified. They did a good job. They got second place. They did work their way. They proved that they're still Complexity. They worked their way all the way through the losers bracket, all the way to the grand finals, and they did qualify, but they lost. You know, they got their first LAN loss on Call of Duty Ghosts, and it was probably not the one they wanted because they had been talking all that mess on Twitter saying you can't beat us on LAN. I believe Krim and Aches both said that. You know, you can't beat us on LAN. SB kind of proved that's not true. So the last team we want to talk about is Optic Gaming. The green wall did not crumble. The green wall survived. The green wall stayed standing. The biggest concern of this entire tournament was not who's going to make it. It was who's not going to make it. And the number one team that no one wanted to not make it, I don't care if you're an Optic fan or a non-Optic fan, is Optic Gaming. It's too good for the game for Optic Gaming to make it. And it may be the most frustrating, annoying thing when you're playing a game and it's an epic match for you and you look out in the stands and there's no one there because Optic's not playing, or everybody's going to get signatures from Optic while you're playing your game. But we need them. We need the viewership, you know, and so it was good, and they're just such an entertaining team. They're fun to watch, you know. They have great personalities. That's why, you know, they have the YouTube channels and all that kind of stuff that they do, and the success. And in the words of Golden Boy, they have America's favorite gamer. And it was a sticky one for them. You know, they 3-0'd their first opponent, and the inevitable clash of the titans that we all expected to happen against Team Envious, it happened. And Optic Gaming went up one map, and we were like, yeah, let's go, Optic. And I was happy because my bracket was going to get saved just a little bit. And then Envious just said, hey, look, can we win 3 games in a row real quick, qualify for COD Champs, call it a day? And that's what they did. Team Envious won that game. They lost their next 2 the next day on Sunday. And that was it for them as far as winning goes. But they qualified for COD Champs. And they kicked Optic Gaming down to the losers bracket to face NY, who had just beaten LV and was pumped and was amped and was ready to take out Optic Gaming, to be the giant killer. And it went all the way to the last map, and it looked like NY had a 2-1 lead. It looked like they were going to take it home, and then Imbos just showed up in game 4 and went off and was like, no, I'm giving my team a chance to win this thing. So Imbos goes off in the domination map 4, and then they go to map 5, Freight, S&D, and America's favorite gamer, the man, the myth, the legend, Optic Nadeshot, steps up. He gets 3 kills in the first round, an ace in the second round, and it was over. You knew at that point. He finished, I believe, 12-4 in that search and destroy. They won 6-2. It was over. When Nadeshot opens up getting 7 kills and being 7-1 after 2 rounds, you pretty much are screwed. And because you got other good people on his team, it's not like, oh well, he's going to be the only one going big. Now everybody stepped up and just did what they had to do. They played well. Nadeshot's start was like, because you know what that does to the psyche of the other players on Optic, and the fans probably went bananas when Nadeshot dropped his ace and when he dropped his 3 kills. And so they ended up qualifying. They hugged each other. They smiled. And you know, the thing I liked about Optic is that when they were close to elimination, game 4, they're down 2-1, and they're like in the booth laughing and smiling. And so I thought that was really cool. And Optic Gaming did qualify, so big ups to them. I'm really happy because watching the tournament without Optic would have just been really weird. So some other notable stuff about the tournament is that TK took 3rd place, and they lost to SB in complexity. That was it. You know, they won all the way until they ran into SB, and then when they went to the losers bracket, they ran into complexity, and they lost to complexity in the losers finals, and that's how complexity got back up. Justice Pro, man, my boy Tipsy. I hate saying these words, but he said it on Twitter. He said, he just tweeted out, "We choked." And that's kind of what happened. You know, it was very unfortunate. They got up against Xfinity in the losers bracket, or in the winners bracket, sorry. And all they had to do was win. You know, all they had to do was beat Xfinity, and they were good to go. Oh no, it was losers bracket, sorry, because they had gotten beat by Rise. All they had to do was beat Xfinity to go to COD Champs, and they lost. Xfinity got their ticket punched to COD Champs, and Justice Pro went home. You know, I was looking at Twitter, and Gucci actually tweeted like a couple hours later. He was like, so much to think about. You know, it's got to be hard as one of these players, especially on one of the top teams, just not getting that close and not making it. And so the last thing is, you know, FaZe did what everybody expected FaZe to do. Everyone expected FaZe to go to the losers bracket to complexity, but they actually went to the losers bracket in the first round to SB, getting 3-0'd, which should have been demoralizing. But instead, they played through the losers bracket the same way complexity did, found themselves against complexity, and that was when they lost. But they did such a great job. They ended up with 4th place in the tournament, getting into the losers bracket in the first round, and they went all the way up to getting 1st place in the tournament. FaZe just did a great job. So the 8 teams that qualified are, and I don't know the order of the last 4, so I know that SB and complexity and TK and FaZe are the top 4 teams. The way the other ones go, I don't know, because of how they finished. They finished in the same round, basically. So you have Envy and Xfinity that finished, or Envy and Rise that finished in the same round, and then that were eliminated in the same losers bracket round. And then you have Optic and Xfinity who were eliminated in the same losers bracket round. So I don't know how they do like the 5th and 6th and 7th and 8th. Yeah, it'll decide their pool play. So this video's been very long. I hope I answered most of your guys' questions. I hope I talked about all the teams you wanted to hear about. Hopefully there will be, well, not hopefully, I will make a separate video regarding COD Champs, how pool play is going to work. I could explain it right now. I pretty much understand how it's going to work, and they're going to match up the 8 teams with the top 8 teams from EU, and then sporadically throw in the other teams in pool play. But I'll explain it in an entirely separate video. No, I'm not going to do predictions for COD Champs probably until next week. Maybe I'll do it on next week's episode of the STiKS, as long as I'm not sick and have bronchitis. This is your boy Kingdom Soldier, and I will see you in the next video. Peace out.